Hi everyone, welcome back to Acing AP Biology. In Unit 8, we will be exploring the process of photosynthesis. In this video, we will introduce the concept of photosynthesis and discuss the structural components of the leaf. Photosynthesis is an endergonic or anabolic process where CO2, a simple inorganic compound, is converted to a complex organic compound like glucose. The overall reaction for photosynthesis is 6 carbon dioxide and 6 water molecules yield a glucose molecule and 6 oxygen molecules. Photosynthesis is essential for life because it converts light energy absorbed by chloroplasts into chemical energy stored in the chemical bonds of glucose, serving as fuel for most organisms. In addition, the process of photosynthesis produces oxygen as a byproduct, which most organisms cannot live without. In photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is reduced to form glucose, and water is oxidized, forming oxygen. Photosynthesis requires light energy in the chlorophyll A pigment in order to occur. Chlorophyll is a green pigment in plants that gives leaves their color. It absorbs light energy to spur photosynthesis. Now let's talk about the difference between autotrophs and heterotrophs. Plants are autotrophs because they produce their own fuel. They are known as producers. Photoautotrophs are organisms that use light as their energy source to manufacture organic compounds for their fuel. These include plants, algae, and cyanobacteria. Chemoautotrophs are organisms that use inorganic molecules like sulfur or ammonia to produce organic compounds. Some bacteria do this. Heterotrophs are dependent on autotrophs for fuel, and so they are called consumers. Examples of heterotrophs are animals and decomposers like fungi and some bacteria. We are chemoheterotrophs because we consume organic compounds. Now let's go over the cross-section of a leaf. Remember that structure always correlates with function, so the structure of the leaf is conducive to photosynthesis. The cuticle is a waxy hydrophobic layer. It protects the plant from dehydration and germs and inhibits evaporation. It is thicker on the top surface of the leaf because there is greater exposure to the sun. The next layer is called the upper epidermis. Notice that it contains no chloroplasts. Then comes the mesophyll layer, which contains between 30 to 40 chloroplasts. The mesophyll layer can be divided into two sections, the palisade mesophyll and the spongy mesophyll. The palisade mesophyll mainly functions in photosynthesis. The spongy mesophyll provides air space, which allows for gas exchange between the plant and the surrounding environment. The vein contains xylem and phloem vessels. Xylem is in charge of water transport in the plant, and phloem is involved with sucrose transport. Then comes the lower epidermis. The lower epidermis contains stomata, which are pores that allow for gas exchange. Surrounding the stomata are guard cells, which swell up to protect the leaf on a hot day in order to preserve water and shrink on a cold day to take in more water. Sunlight triggers the guard cells to pump potassium ions into the spongy mesophyll layer, making the outside of the leaf hypotonic to it. Therefore, water vapor flows into the spongy mesophyll because water always moves to the area of higher solute concentration. This makes the plant turgid. Let's briefly discuss the process of transpiration. When the guard cells open and the stomata is exposed, oxygen can leave the cell and CO2 enters the cell. Water vapor also exits the cell, moving down its concentration gradients, and it moves as a chain because of cohesion between water molecules. The process of water leaving the cell is called transpiration. Water is absorbed by the roots and moves to the leaves using veins and then exits via transpiration. For terrestrial plants, the stomata exists on the bottom of the leaf, facing the shade, so water loss is decreased. Photosynthesis can be divided into two stages: the light reactions and the dark reactions, also known as the Calvin cycle. The light reactions take place in the thylakoid membrane of the chloroplast, and it converts light energy coming in from photons into chemical energy in the bonds of ATP and NADPH. In this process, NADP+ is reduced to NADPH, acting as the final electron acceptor. Water goes into the process and oxygen is released. The dark reactions take place in the stroma. It takes in carbon dioxide from the atmosphere along with ATP and NADPH from the light reactions to fix CO2 into a carbohydrate like glucose. That's it for this lesson. In the next video, we will discuss the light reactions in detail. See you then. For more bio content, hit subscribe.